Okay, so this is going to be a poetry reading as an attempt at an exercise in style. And the reason that this is going to be an exercise in style is that I'm going to read the lyrics of a song taken from the album Hawkwind, 25 Years On, and the lyrics are written by David Brock. And I'm gonna not sing the song, but read it as if it were a poem, and I'm gonna read it in the style of a contemporary poet by the name of Charles Bernstein, and the way that he reads almost all of his poems. And for that reason, it's an exercise in style. Now, almost all of the songs from this record, Hawkwind 25 Years On, the lyrics for almost all of these songs were written by Robert Calvert, with this single exception. These lyrics were written by David Brock, and that's why they're not really as good as the rest of the lyrics for this album, because Robert Calvert was pretty interesting and if not innovative or avant-garde poet, he was an interesting mind, in the same way that certain science fiction writers who may not be terrific poets at the sentence level or at the grammatical level are nonetheless interesting at the narrative level, or the level of the
diegesis,
if you prefer one or another of those ways of pronouncing that Greek word that refers to the story, or sometimes it's used in cinema to represent the world in which the story is situated. So, I think of Robert Calvert as a kind of Philip K. Dick figure, and interesting in the same way that Philip K. Dick is interesting, not particularly in terms of the verbal gymnastics of his use of language, but in terms of the compass of the ideas and interests that he has and takes in the world. And as I was saying, this poem won't demonstrate any of those interesting qualities, probably, because because it is a David Brock poem. I'm not particularly familiar with it, and I've never read it before. But so I'm just reading it now. So my reading won't necessarily be very good, like it says here. But I'm gonna give it a try. Okay, so this exercise in style, as I mentioned, will be reading the poem as. So the performance is not of the poem itself, but of the poem as. And that as is thinking of Robert Creeley, as Charles Bernstein reading one of his poems, and the style that I'm imitating is this kind of sing-song rhyming verse that is irregularly metric, but often regularly rhymed in a kind of Dr. Seuss way, and that often plays with not really metaphor, but idioms, and synonyms that are referred to within and beyond these various idioms, and that includes idioms at the phrasal level and at the cultural level. Like, so what a cultural level idiom would be like a reference to The Simpsons or something that played on a reference to some poetic figure or Shakespeare or whatever. So I'm not going to add all of the discursively idiomatic referential features that Bernstein utilized when he writes his poetry into the David Brock lyric. I'm just going to try to follow this sort of phonic style and the sort of the long extended end note emphasis at line end that you'll often see in a Bernstein reading. So that's going to be the basis of the performance of the piece. Went to school, I studied, and got my GCE. Cities and guilds, my sky diary. But it didn't do no good. Didn't like my looks. So I burnt my books. Spent 25 years, doesn't matter anymore. Stand around the streets and lay around the floor. Watch the world go by, looking at the sky. 25 years, 25 years. They say there's a life up there in the galaxy, the world in collision. There's people with an allergy. 25 years of social research. I started out one day and I worked in a factory. My mind went blank. I needed a battery. Didn't do no good. I got the sack. My work was slack. Spent 25 years. Doesn't matter anymore. Stand around the streets and lay around the floor. Watch the world go by. Looking at the sky. 25 years. 25 years.